Okay guys, welcome back to another FPV guide video. Today we're going to be looking at the latest edition of Yuneec Q500, this time with a 4K camera and fully loaded with everything you can possibly want. I am Bo Lorentzen, the FPV guy, and I'm going to be talking you through all the content of the new kit and telling you what I like and probably also some of the things I don't like. So stay tuned. And of course, if you haven't already, do subscribe for more videos coming soon. And let's get going. Before I pull the box out, I have a huge box right here, but I do want to really quickly preface, we have seen the Q500 before. When Yuneec released the Q500 this spring, they were breaking new ground in several areas. First of all, they made a larger 500 size multi-rotor for video. And those of us who have been flying the Q500 knows that the 500 size has turned out to be a great size for video production. It's very stable and very calm to fly in the air. They also had a surprisingly high quality gimbal with higher quality smooth video than really most other multi-rotors out there. So for me, I really enjoyed flying it. Now what they have done now is they have come out with a larger radio and a 4K camera, and also the new 4K camera has 100% manual image control, so you can set your settings the way you want them for your imagery. So let's lose this and let's open up the box. All right, let's crack this thing open. All right, here we go. This is a pretty big box, so I'm gonna kind of just liberate these things out. We're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna turn around and put it together, and I'm going to explain a bit about how this works. Up on top here we have, let's start with the top shield or the information piece here. One of the things I really like is they put all the international groups on here where you can contact Yuneec. One of the things that's really unique about the Q500 is that it comes with 6 months warranty. That is completely revolutionary in the industry because nobody else really offers a warranty on their products past the first 30 days. So, and also you'll see right here, Yuneec has put the information, phone numbers and email addresses, how to contact them. So they're very transparent, very upfront, telling you how to get hold of them. This is the important sheet right here with the information, don't lose it. Cracking further into the box, we find the Q500 Quick Start Guide. This Quick Start Guide is essentially the basics you need to get going. The next thing that's included also is a quick start or user manual for the steadygrip. The steadygrip is the hand grip that you can use to hold the camera. So in case you want to do handheld recording for maybe your documentary or your video, you can use the hand grip to use the same camera. Using the same camera, of course, makes it easy to edit in post-production. Here's an important thing. This is what I call the cheat sheet. Notice how it has the little colored codes here? That is the blinking light codes from the back of the aircraft, so that if you look up at it, you're going to see these codes, and this sheet will tell you what those codes are. If you flip the sheet over, here is how to do calibration and the basic information about how the system works. I would laminate this and hold on to it because you want to have that with you when you fly, so you can always cheat and eyeball it really quickly before flying. Of course, we couldn't have a modern product without a warning sheet. All the things you should not do. Do not use this in your bathtub. And further up here, we have a set of props, and interestingly and very cool, all of these Q500s comes with 2 sets of props. That's a total of 8 propellers. We just need a couple, so I'm going to grab a couple of these out of here, a total of 4 propellers. Underneath it we find the shield for the radio controller. I'll show you in a minute how we're going to set that up. And over here is the accessory box. Let's come back to that in a minute and get rid of the top layer. Alrighty then, here it is, the beautiful new Typhoon Q500 4K edition. I gotta tell you, I really think this color scheme is beautiful. Let's turn it around and put it down and get the rest of the stuff out of this box. There. And what else do we have here? The kit comes with 2 batteries. These are some of my favorite battery systems because they are made very simple and very effective. Let me get right back to that. Let's empty the box here and then we can start playing. One of my favorite chargers. It's not the world's most advanced charger. What is so cool about it is it has a plug on the side and you can use this as a car charger or at home. And it comes from the manufacturer with both the car charging and the home charging option. So here is the power brick, the wall plug of the wall charger for when you use it at home, and somewhere we should also have a car charger. Over here is a power cord for the home charger. We're not going to be charging right now, so I'm going to put it down. Over here is a little USB charger. That is so that you can charge the radio controller. And let's get that out, and then we have pretty much almost emptied the box. Here's the radio. I'm going to put that down right here for now. And last thing out of the box, the controller for hand holding the camera in case you want to film as handheld camera rather than flying the camera. We're going to come back to that also. We'll put that down here and put the top layer back in the box. What I really like is how complete this box is. The entire kit fits right into this travel box. And take the lid and I'll put it right back on. There we go. Close the lid. Complete box. Everything we need to fly literally is in this box. So let's put that down. Alrighty, having looked at this, let's reorganize real quickly. Here is the multi-rotor. I am going to put that over here. There, now you can see, and I have some space to show you things in the detail camera that's sitting right up here. And we have the radio. And let's start out talking propellers. Up on top of these motors is of course a warning not to cut our fingers off when we do fly and put propellers on. And that's one of the reasons I don't use carbon fiber propellers. I prefer using the standard plastic propellers from the manufacturer like these. The reason is a plastic propeller will break. So if you fly into a branch or a finger, it starts breaking. Carbon fiber propellers are stronger and they don't break. And if you start chopping at your finger, if the prop don't break, your finger is going to break. So I prefer plastic propellers. They don't have to be from the manufacturer, but I still use plastic propellers. To install them, it is already set up. They only go on one way. And so we're going to put one on right here and start spinning it down because I want to emphasize one thing. You can kind of see it right here. Once I push it down a little bit, it gets to the little rubber ring that's on top of the motor. That rubber ring is there to capture it and prevent it from sliding back. But it's very important to grab hard on the motor and tweak it down at least another half a turn. You really want to get a good tweak on this. Multi-rotors has been changing, and in the old flight controller systems, the only thing the motor would do would be speed up or slow down. Nowadays, these motors or the flight controller have what is called motor braking, meaning instead of just slowing down the propeller to maintain level, it will literally brake the motor aggressively, and that could cause the propeller to spin off. So because of that, grab on the motor and tweak this the correct way down till you get a really good snug fit. So here is the aircraft. Before we start talking components, let's empty the accessory box. In case you didn't know, it says accessories right here, and it also has an included SD card. We have the little pincher, pipette, and that thing. First time I saw this, I didn't know what that was. In the meantime, I have learned that is because there is a cable way in here. Okay, I can see it. And basically what you use is this thing, and you stick it in and you can grab the cable for the update. And that is what you use to make firmware updates to the flight controller. So don't lose this because you're going to be using it. Next, coming out of here, talking about updates. This is the funky little USB plug and a cable. That is the cable you'll be connecting to the cable inside the aircraft to do the firmware updates. So these two could be in a Ziploc bag together because you're going to be using them together. And what else? Here we go. This is, I call it the coat hanger, and I'm sure the official designers would not agree with calling it that. But basically, and it comes with a little Velcro strap now. There, that holds it together. And the way this is meant to be used is when you take the radio, you hook it right onto here, and you can see how wide that is. So that means that I can actually see the entire screen at the same time as I have support for my radio, so I can see the screen and I can operate the touch screen interface. I'm going to take it off again now, since we're not going to be flying. And here comes the pincher. The way this works, it's a big set of pliers basically, and that goes right on here on top of the motor, and I push in, and now it's easy to lock the motor while you twist the propeller down. Or if you have a crash and break the propeller so there's nothing to get hold of, this makes it easier to unscrew the propeller from the motor. That's your little motor lock tool. More stuff. Okay, empty. Here is keys for the cool travel case. And here is, let's just move straight to that. Here is a USB card. The USB card contains the instruction manual along with additional information how to use it and firmwares for your aircraft. So make a copy on your computer of this card before you start using it. Let's open it up and find out how to put that into the camera. This kind of comes out. That's the plastic bag it came in. And here is the memory card, and I can pull out, here is a little micro SD card right here. So really quickly, the other thing that was in here, we found a USB cable, and this USB cable is intended for charging the radio. You can see there is a USB plug right here on the side. And remember, we also found a USB charger, so that one plugs into that, and now you're ready to charge the radio. One of the very cool things about this radio, it's basically an Android tablet with a radio attached. Because of that, you can charge it from your laptop if you wanted to. And finally, my favorite thing. There it is. It is the car charger version of power cable. Look at this. You plug it right into the corner of the charging unit, and now you have a car charger. That is really one of my favorite things, because I find whenever you're driving, if you're going somewhere to shoot, it's very easy to get a couple of hours drive and you can charge a battery or two while you're driving. So that gives you a lot more flight time on a day you're going out trying to get nice shots, because you can keep recharging batteries on the way around. And I love that Yuneec has made the car charging option a default on all their kits. So all their kits comes with a car charger. I think that's brilliant, and I quite frankly, for the life of me, cannot understand why other people are not including car chargers in all their kits. Let's have a real quick look at the battery. We have the charger. I know, I sound a little too excited about this battery, but the problem is most batteries has a big cable hanging out of the end, and my dogs has been chewing on those. I really like what Yuneec has done here. They have removed all the cables from the end, and basically what you have is a plug that the balance cable, so now the balance tab sits in the battery, and this is the balance charger, so this is all you have to connect, and it's now ready to start charging. The stock batteries are 3S 5400 milliamps, which gets you about 20 minutes flying. Of course, the way I fly, I usually get back on the ground at about 15-minute mark, just because I like to push it a little harder, go a little faster. But I really like the no cables end on these batteries. It's my favorite little battery. Let me show you where these things go. We turn this around. And on the back side here, I don't know if you can see it, but you just push this door, it comes open, then you take the battery and you just kind of slide it in, push it down, and push the door locked again, and now you have the battery installed. You're ready to go. Before I put it down, let's turn it upside down, and here you can see the on-off switch that turns it on, and sliding this back turns it back off. Alrighty then, let's get back to the front end of this device. To get going, let's remove the safety tape. Lots of yellow stuff. And down here, and the tape film on the lens. Okay, so once you have removed the film from the lens and everything is ready, you can remove the little cage that holds the camera. This cage you really should hold onto, and I would keep some masking tape stuck on it, because whenever you don't use the camera system, you should put that back on, as it prevents the camera from getting tossed around. Okay, over here we have the camera itself. I'm going to release the cable real quickly and push the button. There you go. That is actually the camera here. You can see now it's got a huge ventilation vents up on the back, and down on the bottom here is where the memory card or the micro SD card goes. It goes in right here, just like that, and now the micro SD card is installed. And this is ready to go. So let's get some power on this system so we can talk about it. Remember to plug the little cable back in. There we go. Before I proceed and start getting things powered up, I am going to remove this propeller, because I don't want to take the risk that this aircraft turns on and start turning the propellers next to my face. Alrighty then, let's take a look at the radio real quickly. Here is the radio, and of course on top here it says removing this film indicates that you have read the manual, so read the manual. Here on the left side is the pitch. That is what adjusts the angle of the camera, and of course you see the camera view on this screen. Coming across here we have the still photography button. On the other side we have the video recording button, and on the far right side we have one of the very cool Yuneec specific features, the turtle rabbit mode. So basically, if you're new or if you're doing a video, you want real slow movement, put this thing to turtle and you're gonna get these really slow, soft moves. If you wanna move faster, move it to rapid and the aircraft will go faster. Basically, in the turtle mode, the aircraft has a max speed. It cannot exceed that, and it cannot turn, climb, or move faster than the max settings. And as you change that to rapid, it goes faster and faster. So that way you get more speed with the same amount of stick. This is a great feature, and I know it is very, very practical for new filmmakers and people that is not necessarily RC pilot but want really smooth flying operation. The rest of the control is of course the standard things. It has two sticks right here, and in the upper left corner we have the start mode. So when you're ready, you push that down, hold it down for about 3-4 seconds, and the propellers are going to start swinging. After they start turning, I give them 3-4 seconds, and then I push the throttle up to about 75%. That is going to make the aircraft take off and hang in the air. Now, before we do that, we should make sure we have the right mode. Right now it's set to smart mode. We do not want to start flying in smart mode. We always start in angle mode with the tail of the aircraft facing towards us. That means that the aircraft will be moving and turning according to the sticks. Once I get flying further than 30 feet away from me, I can switch to smart mode, and now the aircraft switches and it becomes what's also known as intelligent orientation control, meaning when I turn this stick to the right, the aircraft start moving around in a circle to my right. Move it to the left, it goes to the left. Move the stick out and the aircraft moves out. Move the stick down and it comes back towards me. Remember, that mode turns off at about 30 feet. So when you get to 30 feet, you want to be switching to angle mode and fly it back home from there in angle mode. When you're in smart mode, up in the upper right hand corner of the screen is an eye. If you click on that, it's going to turn and it's look at me mode. So it basically will use the GPS information from your radio and from the aircraft to know where you are and turn and look at me, look at you, whoever is flying it. So that is the basic mode you need to know about this radio. And there is one final mode. I don't really use it a lot because I like to fly the aircraft from beginning and until I land. But if you look at the radio, the last mode when I push the switch down says home, and that mode basically will, once you flip down here, will take over control of the aircraft. The aircraft will climb up, it will come back home where you started, and it will come down and land by itself. So you could use this as a land switch when you're done flying. Like I said, I prefer to do all the flying myself. One of the things to keep in mind when using return to home is it's going home in a straight line. So if you have flown out and around a big bunch of trees or a mountain and switch to home, it's going to go in a straight line between where it is and where home is. Meaning, if there's too many trees, it might fly into the trees. So make sure you always have a clear line of sight between where the aircraft is and home when you engage the home switch. Also make sure that you have a large area like 30 to 40 feet as your starting area, because if the aircraft is a little bit off coming home and don't land right on the dot, you really don't want to land on somebody's roof or in a tree just because you started right under the tree. So don't do that. Always try to start so that you can come back without any obstacles when you land. Alrighty, with that out of the way, let's start powering some of these things up. I'm going to turn on the radio right here. And I'm turning on the aircraft on the little switch on the bottom. Did you see that? Now the camera's rightened itself and got stabilized. You can see when I move this little slider, now it's going to be looking down, and when I do like that, it's going to look back up. Alrighty guys, one of the first things I was of course most interested in when I opened this up is the 4K camera. Now right away you're going to notice when you look at the little gear down here for the settings, and it says OK, it says video settings, and all it gives you is some video file sizes and some frame rates. So I was thinking there must be more to this, and there is. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to enable the Pro version. Pressing OK, and we are going to go to camera select, and then we're going to go from CGO3 to CGO3 Pro. That is my favorite mode. So we're going to take that, press select, and say OK, and then back out. There we go. Now you can see we've got all our menus. First of all, up on the side here we has outer white balance. And what I always suggest is if you're flying outside in sunshine, pick the sunshine mode or pick the overcast or whichever mode is the one you want, because you don't want to come and fly towards a blue wall and have it change colors on you. So pick the color that's appropriate for your flight mode. That way you don't have to worry about colors changing as you go. And so you can just basically slide this up and down, and I'm picking overcast, and you can see there, I'm going to put it back to sunlight, and that is that. Now down here is exposure compensation option. By default, the unit is set up to automatic exposure, and what you can do is you can do minus or plus exposure. I like to shoot at about 1/3 minus, 1/3 to a half stop minus, just to keep everything a little dark to avoid blowing out highlights. But you can also, if you click on the red circle here, then you go to full manual, and now you have access to the ISO and the shutter speed. So you always want to be using the lowest possible ISO. You don't never want to use 6000. You want to use 200 or 100 ISO so that you get smoother colors, better contrast, and more details in the shadow and in the highlights. And you want to use the slowest possible shutter speed you can get away with. The reason for that is that when you pan, if you use a really fast shutter speed, it's gonna step, and give you a stuttering image. And if you take a motion picture, like at home, just freeze the DVD or the video for a second, when they have a pan, and you'll see everything is blurred. That's because cinematographers usually would be shooting at 1/50th of a second, so when you pan quickly, everything gets blurred, and that way it doesn't look like it's stepping and that's going to give you a nicer, more cinematography look. So that's my main settings right here. Going through it here, you can see you want to be sure you have a good number of satellites over here, and there's 2 satellite indicators. There's GPS here, that is the aircraft. Up in the other corner here, you should have 7 or 9. There's a little satellite here. That is the satellites for your radio. And if it doesn't have a good satellite lock on the radio, it cannot return back home if you need it to. And it also doesn't do a very good job at follow me. So those 2 should always have good satellite locks. To start taking a still picture, there's this switch up here. Push the button and it goes click. The other switch over here is the switch for starting a video recording. When you start that, it's going to start giving you a recording time right up on top here so that you can see how many seconds, minutes, or hours has been recorded. So that's the setup. Let's turn this off and really quickly put the camera on the handheld unit and take a look at that. Always turn off the aircraft before you turn off the radio. So to go to handheld operation, what we're going to do is unplug the cable in the back and push down this little tap right here on the nose. That lets us remove the camera. Then I'm going to grab the grip and we're going to get the camera to slide into this track just like that. And here it is. Before it can start working, we of course have to plug the little plug in again. So that goes in here. There it is. You can see the cable right there. This takes 6 batteries in the bottom, and on top it has a little clip here that fits my Tab 4. So I unfold that, I install the Tab 4, and now I basically have a handheld camera setup, and it's possible to turn on and off audio recording. So if you don't want noise or sound, you can turn it off, and if you want it, you can turn it on. I find the sound is good quality, but it's not broadcast. So if you needed this for a higher purpose, I would record sound on this, but I would also use a standalone audio recorder, and then I would merge the 2 tracks later. One of the things I notice is a lot of people like to shake this around and use it kind of like a little shotgun thing. Don't do that. You need to treat this a bit like a Steadicam. And the way you do that is I stick my finger in right about here and more or less balance this on my finger, and then just kind of very gently, so try to move the camera rig so the camera is not being upset. Then the stabilized gimbal can smooth out the little upsets that they are and give you a really, really good quality image. Now, let's really quickly talk about what this camera can do, because one of the things that has happened with this 4K camera revolution, you can shoot in 4K and then you can downscale in post-production and get incredibly beautiful 1080p video with very, very high amount of resolution and details. And that just was not possible 2 years ago. So these kind of cameras, you could actually do a nice interview. You can do event coverage with that and then res it down in post-production and get some very, very legit video out of it. And let me tell you what the numbers really are, because I was surprised when I started looking at how much resolution comes out of this particular camera. By default, you can of course get 1080p. Every camera does 1080p, but this one goes way further. It does the UHD, which is ultra high definition television, at 3840 by 2160 pixels. That's 16:9 crop ratio and about an 8 megapixel image. But it actually does a larger video even. It does what is called WHXGA, and that is 5120 by 3200 pixels, or almost 16 megapixel. And it's using more of the sensor on board here. What happens, unfortunately, is it gets a little soft on the edges, but it's an incredibly large image. There's a ton of resolution. You can make a print from a 16 megapixel file. So that's actually interesting. You can record it and pull prints out of it. I didn't realize that this sensor could do that higher resolution, because most 4Ks I have heard of stop dead at 4K. Anyway, for everyday use, you should be using the UHD setting, which is the standard 4K video setting. The reason is it doesn't use as much of the sensor, and that means you don't get soft edges the way you do if you do the wide open. But I'm still very fascinated that they included that ultra high resolution option, and I will be playing with that for sure. How good are these cameras? A quick look at these images will tell you all of them have good details. All of them have great resolution. I put them up here on the screen so you can see all 4 of them side by side. And go to my blog at fpvguy.com, because we are going to be talking more about these images. I wanted to check if the resolution was okay. So what I did was I stuck a tent pole, a white tent pole, in the middle of the picture at an angle. If you look close, you can see the white line. Let me go ahead and blow that up for you. Now it's at 400%, and you can clearly see that there's no pixelation, but a nice clean diagonal line. I think it's safe to say I am definitely happy with this camera. The images I've been getting out of here are solid, and I've been able to edit them easily on my video projects. They inter-edit with other video very nicely, and I've been able to use handheld video from the handheld system. I gotta tell you, Yuneec has done a phenomenal job at upgrading the Q500 to the new Q500 4K edition. Somehow they have managed to include the 4K camera with manual settings, the hand grip, the aircraft, and the controller, and 2 batteries, and a travel box into less than $1,500. I really think that is very well done, and I gotta tell you, I'm very happy with this aircraft. I've flown a lot of hours with it, and if you're considering a 4K unit, I would definitely say you should take a very close look at this device. I'm going to be updating my blog this afternoon with more pictures and also some more information about the camera settings, and we will talk about more how to get the better quality images while we are flying. So stay tuned to the videos here, subscribe, there should be a click box in the upper corner, and also of course check out my blog at fpvguy.com. And thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. That lets us remove the camera. Then I'm gonna grab the grip and I'm gonna put that on the track. Then I'm gonna grab the grip and we're just gonna slide the camera right back in. Then I'm gonna grab the grip and we're gonna get the camera into this Then I'm gonna grab the grip and we're gonna get the camera to slide into this track, just like that.